free to chime in with questions, but I'll mention a little bit. That beeping sound, of course, is the speaker we set up so you can hear the corrections. And this dog, he started off at level 3 here.
That's what I was going to ask you. Yep, no, that's perfect.
Out of 100, yeah.
Now, how many days have you been doing?
Very first session. He did
this morning. First session?
This morning he did a short leash walk with my other trainer, Kendall, and then I took him out on the afternoon session. And so first time out in the field with him, we put on a 30-foot leash. I'm only giving him about 10 feet of leash at first. And this is a guy that the owner said, they just adopted him, so they don't know him very well. He's only been in their home for about 5 days, I think. So they sent him right to boarding school with us, and they said he was just dragging him down the street when they took him on a walk. So he's a husky mix of some sort, and definitely independent, like a lot of huskies can be. So you can see him kind of aloof. He's like, why would I follow you anyway? There's a lot of cool stuff to smell.
Well, it's so right there. Now, are you doing that for attention?
Yeah, just because he's really distracted. I just want to have the dogs checking in with me. So my goal is to always feel like we're a team out there, like we're moving together. And when I get a feel like he doesn't care about me anymore, that's when I'll correct. By the way, every time
That was a good one, by the way. That one right there. That one, I didn't want to interrupt you. That one, no, not just the timing, like, you could see, like, he really received, like, you tapped it and he responded.
Oh, right.
You didn't have to use any leash pressure, like, that was a good timing, but, like, you could see he's starting to, like, really go, like, oh, okay, I need to check in and catch off without you having to use any leash pressure, that loop before you turn. That was a really good one. Like, even there, right there, you see him, like, really starting to respond.
Yeah.
To that pressure. That's good.
Yeah,
that was really
good. Yeah, I think that was his first time actually just listening to the caller, which is crazy to think that he could pick it up that fast, right? I mean, I corrected him with the e-collar maybe 5 times before that, and on the 6th time, because my timing was good, and I'm using my voice a lot as well, he's like, oh, I get what's going on here. That's Ryan talking to me. So.
Now, you don't use any food in the beginning process?
I do on the recalls. You'll see me, I think the first time I recalled him, I gave him a treat.
Gotcha. But so not for attention based. So like if you tap it for attention. Okay.
No, the only time I use treats in this exercise is when they do a recall, and even then I'm only doing it once out of every 2 or 3 recalls. So I want to get them right away. I kind of want it to be the jackpot, so they come in every time, and then every once in a while they get a treat and get the extra big payoff. I find that it gets a happy recall. You can hear the vibrate right there. He's a huge jumper. His parents said that was one of the number 1 things they want us to fix while he's with us.
So you guys use vibrate in the beginning or do you guys use vibrate the entire time? Okay.
Yeah, so I just held that vibrate the whole time it was jumping on me. And some dogs I won't do that on the first session because the vibrate will freak them out. And
yeah, I know the vibrate's so weird.
Yeah, so it depends on the dog, but I'm getting pretty good at reading which ones, not always, but most of the time I can tell which one is not going to, like, stress him out. And it didn't stress him out. As you could see, he kind of just was like, oh, that's weird. So, but it allows me to not have to be confrontational. I don't have to yell at him or walk into him and say, hey, knock it off, or give him a leash correction. I can just hold that vibrate and he kind of goes, it's kind of uncomfortable when I do that. I don't like that.
Yeah, that's good. We don't do any correction at first. So, like, if the dog, when we first do an e-collar, the dog gets away with basically murder at first.
Yeah, absolutely. So it feels like that, but yeah, because you're just trying to build that relationship and make sure he likes you and you're having fun together, right?
Well, and I want the e-collar to be something good, so I don't want, and the way we do, so, and another thing too is, not to jump off what I was saying, but like, this is a lot of distractions even in the beginning, and a dog who pulls, like, he's doing like awesome. I mean, you can see the road behind you, there's cars every couple of seconds.
Yeah, and every time he's really looking over there and staring, there's people on, there's a walking trail, so people are riding bikes and jogging and stuff. So, ideally I would like to have my own private field. It's something I'm looking to rent in the near future so that I can manage this and have no distractions at first, and then we'd work our way up to something like this. But we've been doing it like this for about a year now, and most dogs, it's not ideal, but it's good enough that they're progressing quickly. So
I mean, you can see it though. I mean, like, and well, I meant it like the most positive way, because like he might be looking, but it's nothing. Like he's not pulling you. You know, I'm sure if this was his owner, he would have been over there saying hi to a biker by now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like he's barely like it's enough distraction where it's not horrible, but it's not where you know you can see he's learning it. So he's doing. I mean, like you said, if it's been working for a year, it looks like it because he's doing really well. You know, for basically the first day of e-collar stuff. I guess it's cool. It's really cool to watch.
Yeah, we can be pretty gentle and keep him. You gotta take a pee sometimes, you know.
I can dig it. This is me. So I always try to look away. Like I always laugh and like I try to give up. My dogs won't go to the bathroom if you're staring at them. So I'm always just turning away.
Depends on the dog. Some like for you to look them right in the eyes.
Yeah, oh my god, that's weird, right? They want you to like complete eye contact the whole time.
So by the way, this rest period here, we do like a 30 second to a minute rest every once in a while. It's another great way to build a little more engagement from your dog. So sometimes they get spazzy or just kind of aloof. And if you just go and step on the leash and ask them to just kind of hang out for 30 seconds, then as soon as you start back up off the walk, they almost always are more engaged with you. So it just kind of helps regroup and settle them in a little bit. So that's why I'm doing this. And I did turn at some point, about halfway through, I turned the e-collar to 4 because I could tell he was kind of desensitizing a little bit, kind of like, three's not so bad, I'll just ignore you. And then I went to 4, and that was enough to get him engaged again. So it's something too, like and I don't try to say this because of like I'm hiding, but I always try to tell people like, and you do the same thing I do, like we say correction, but really it's more of like no difference in a very tiny bit of leash pressure, you know, like, hey, pay attention to me. And I guess we could argue that it's a correction because they're not doing what we necessarily want them to do, so we want them to correct it. For owners, I always seem to tell people like, you know, don't necessarily worry about correction or punishment or any of that stuff. Like, just worry about the dog focusing on you and kind of responding. Yeah. I've been trying to, well, the dog, go ahead. Good. No. I was going to say the correction, the dog will tell you if it feels like a jab or if it feels like a tap, and we want it to feel like a tap, so that's how we explain it. So, you know, if I'm tapping him and he's like, that's, you know, what is that? And then he'll look at me and it turns off, then that's all he needs. Versus if sometimes I'll go like, I think this dog needs more, I'll go 5 or 6, and suddenly the dog's kind of shaking it off, or you can just tell if it's kind of like a little too uncomfortable, then I always go down. So, and every time I'm correcting, when you hear that beep, I start it off with a command, either let's go or come, so I'm calling them in. And in future videos, I'll get a microphone on me so that people can hear what I'm saying. But I'm almost always pairing my voice with the start of the correction so that helps him learn, hey, that's coming from Ryan. And then anytime he's looking at me, that correction there's no correction. So that's important.
No. So right now here, okay. So now that one's obviously very clear about on the other side of the field you were just at. Were you hitting the button at all? I didn't hear it, but I didn't know if you were hitting the button or if you were just kind of slowing down and letting him kind of catch up with you. Because he was kind of following you, like he wasn't stopping like this. He was more of like smelling, but like smelling coming with you.
No, if you didn't hear the beep, I wasn't correcting at all.
Oh, okay.
And I let him get away with a lot more in the beginning too. So I noticed how much he's blowing me off. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't frustrate me. I'm trying my best to be the nice guy, and the collar can be the correction or the bad guy. And I just try and verbally coax them in and just keep everything positive. And I always do that. Doesn't matter how long the dog's been with me. I'm always using happy voice. A lot of times customers, they get real serious about it. You know, try to be all bossy. I'm like, just use your happy voice. It'll work a whole lot better.